Happy 2021. I hope everybody is doing well, and welcome to a Straight from the Heart 2021. The topic for today is letting go. And some months ago, I talked about taking everyone through my hair journey. I wasn't really sure at the time what that was going to look like. I wasn't really sure at the time how I was going to proceed, but through much prayer, conversations with my husband and with my hairstylist, this may seem rather drastic. It may seem rather whimsical, like I made a rash decision, but those who know me know the journey, know all about the journey. And it has been some years in the making. First of all, from working through just the emotions of having alopecia, working through the emotions of what exactly is it that I need to do. And once again, some may think, oh, this must have been a New Year's resolution. This must have been something that, you decided to do for the new year. I'm not one for resolutions. I am very much a person of resolve, but not for making resolutions. And so this was not a resolution. This is not a emotional decision, but it was and is a letting go of the preconceived ideas, preconceived mindset, and not necessarily of other people, but my own. So today, what I want to do, what I endeavor to do whenever doing a live, is to encourage, to inspire, and to encourage. And the one thing, if I didn't learn anything else in 2020, the one thing that God had been reiterating to me is that the life I live isn't my own. The things that I do, although I honestly believe that God leads me, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the life that we live is not just about us. And you've heard me say that over and over again. It's not just about me. So in everything that I do, I question and I ponder. There are some things that I believe I should ponder, and then there are some things that I believe that need to be acted on and moved on quickly. And I am thankful that God is patient with me as I learn the difference between the two. So, letting go. This year, our New Year's Eve service was unlike any that we had ever had before. And I say that because we had just come off of a year that we can honestly say was of great turmoil. A year that was, a lot of people use the word unprecedented. So it was an unprecedented year, a year that we spent on lockdown, a year that we spent away from family and friends, a year that we spent in reflection, whether it was reflection because it's something that we normally do as a habit, or reflection because now we are stuck, right? We have no choice because we are on lockdown. So reflection nonetheless. And as I reflected, asking God, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? And I think everybody found themselves in that situation. So the New Year's Eve service took on a totally different feeling, if I can use that word. And, my husband, my pastor, declared some things that God had placed on his heart. And, that's exactly what God was talking to me about. God's been talking to me about being brave, being fearless, being courageous, moving forward. And I think about the scripture that says, when Paul talks about leaving those things which are behind and pressing forward. That's exactly what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God has prepared us for, that God has prepared me for. I embarked on a journey, and it's awesome to me that we may not know the road that we're headed on, but nothing catches God by surprise. Nothing at all. Nothing catches God by surprise. So I know for me in my life that God has placed people in my life that he knew were going to assist me and help me on this journey. And not just assist me on this journey, but I would have something to assist them on whatever the journey is for them. And one person in particular, I think she's on here, one person in particular, we work together, and, I never knew that she had the skill set that she had. And we were just having conversations and getting to know each other. And lo and behold, she is a phenomenal, she's an artist. That's what I'm gonna say that she is. She's an artist. She sees things in a way that I wish I could see things. And so she's a stylist, but we work together. We're both teachers, and in a conversation we're talking about things. And I asked God, I said, God, I need somebody to help me put myself together, not for any other reason, but just to put myself together so I could feel more confident. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with the issues of the alopecia. I no longer want to wear wigs. I no longer can do weaves because they're doing more harm than they're doing good. And I didn't even share this with her, but this is what I'm thinking. In my heart, I just need to build up my confidence, because if I'm going to continue to wear a wig, then I need to own it. I need to embrace it. Even though in my heart of hearts, my desire was to let go of the idea that I had of what beauty actually is. Now, listen to this. My heart song is I See Beautiful. Those of you who know me, that's my heart song. That is something that I believe was part of my mother's legacy and is going to be my legacy to my daughter and my daughters that are mine by adoption and by mentorship. So leaving a legacy that cannot be erased. And my mantra is I see beautiful. And it comes from the fact that we are wonderfully and we are fearfully made. Now think about this. How can I stand and talk about I see beautiful and we're fearfully and wonderfully made when that is not something that truly on the inside of me I was continually embracing? Now I say continually embracing because I would have spurts of, oh yes, I'm beautiful. Oh yes, I'm beautiful. And I would have these little momentum, burst of momentum. And I thought about it. God brought it to my remembrance. He talked about, people having, when he talked to people and said, oh ye of little faith. And it didn't mean that they had little faith. It meant that they had short bursts of faith. Those short instances that would propel them, but then they didn't have enough that would help them to continue. So, I have these short spurts of, oh yes, I see beautiful. Oh yes, I feel beautiful. Oh yes, I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. And yet I'm hiding who God created me to be under a weave. Now, hear me out and do not mistake what I'm saying. I have nothing against weaves. I have nothing against wigs. But when those things become attachments that cause you to lose sight of who you are and whose you are and how fearfully and wonderfully you've been made, that's my story. I'm not talking about anybody else's story. I don't know anybody else's story. I can only talk about my story. So, as I'm speaking to my now dear friend, who is my stylist, stop by her page, Styled by Charla. That's Charla. You can find her on Facebook and you can find her on Instagram. And when we were just talking, and she was asking me about my style, and she said, I want to take you through a style profile. And from the first time we had a conversation, I was like, wow, she listens. She was listening to me. And as she was listening to me and she was pulling things out of me and asking me these series of questions, I realized that, yeah, there are things that I like. There are things that I already know that I look good in. And okay, look in your closet. And she's taking me still through this journey that actually helped me make a decision. Once again, people may look and say, my goodness, she made a bold decision for 2021. Understand this. This has been something that I have been praying to God about. This is something that I took to the Father. This is something that I was having conversations with my husband about. And it's interesting because when I asked my husband, I said, honey, what do you think? Hair is personal. What do you mean hair is personal? Hair is personal. It's like, I didn't marry you for your hair. That has nothing to do with why I married you, but it's personal. And this is key. He said to me, if you can own it, own it. So he looked at me and he just said, own it. I'm with you, own it. There are going to be people who are going to judge you based on how you look. There are going to be people who are going to make assumptions based on how you look. There are going to be people who are going to think that you made this rash decision, and then because they think it's a rash decision, they're going to put you in this box, and that's the way they're going to view you. And you're going to have to be able to stand boldly and own it, regardless of what people say. Now, it's one thing for me to get on a Facebook Live and say, I don't care. Let me let you in on a little something. I care deeply. I really do. I care deeply about people. I love God. I love people. So I do care. But he said to me, not to a point where what somebody says or how somebody treats you will cause you to falter in owning your decision, because ultimately it's your decision. Here's the other side of it. I said to God, I have never seen a first lady who has, short hair like this. I have never seen a pastor who looks like me. And God said, you be. So, all right, sign me up, Lord, you be. And here's the thing. When I sat in the chair, first of all, my hair stylist and we got to the shop at the same time. Now, mind you, I have been going to her for 4 years. And she has told me emphatically, I do not do big chops. She's all about the crown and glory. She doesn't do big chops, okay? And I had talked to her 2 years ago about wanting to cut my hair because the alopecia was getting really bad. And she said, I don't do big chops, I said, okay, you don't do big chops. I talked to her last year about doing a big chop. First lady, as she called it, first lady, I don't do big chops, right? Okay, so I resorted to, all right, stay natural, but either weave it, or stay natural or do a wig. All right, no problem. So this time, after praying and just saying, you know what, Lord, I know you're going to be with me, whatever the decision is that I make, and I just have to be willing to stand. And a lot of times that's the thing, we make a decision, and whatever decision that we make, we have to realize that we're going to have to stand. There's going to be opposition. God never told us that in this life there would not be trouble. He said quite the opposite. In this life, there will be trouble, but be of good cheer, right? I've overcome the world. So no matter what decisions that you have to make, especially here in this new year, come to realize that you're going to have to stand, but you're not standing alone. So we got to the hair place at the same time, and she looked at me and she was like, and I had already taken the weave out and I had a little headband around my head, and she looked and she says, okay, what are we doing today? And I said, I'm going to cut it all off because it's growing thick in certain places or certain areas, and I know that if I cut it all off and just focus on taking care of my scalp, that it's going to grow. And guess what? If it doesn't grow any longer than what it is right now, I'm okay with it. But I need to let it go. I had, in a way, made the weave and the wig a symbol of beauty. And if I'm truly going to mentor women and mentor girls into seeing beautiful, I had to be able to be free. I had to be able to let my thought of what beauty was that has been molded by whatever, I had to be willing to let that go and be authentic. Yeah? So then came the dying of what was left. And when she was done and I looked at myself in the mirror, for the first time, not for the first time ever saying, I see beautiful, but for the first time, I was able to say it and knew that it wasn't going to be a short burst of I see beautiful. It wasn't going to be just a circumstantial right here at this time, in this moment, I see beautiful. I wake up every single morning filled with joy. And I know that it's a sustained knowing, not a feeling. It's a sustained knowing. And if I could leave you with anything today, because I wanted this to be short, if I can leave you with anything today, this is a new year, the first day of a new year. What do you need to let go of? Now, I know people have made resolutions and they say, well, this year I'm going to lose weight. This year I'm going to do this year I'm going to do that. And once again, I'm not a woman of resolutions. I like to think that I'm a woman of resolve. And God brought me to this place where I could finally let go. First of all, that I could finally recognize that the weave and the wig became a part of my identity. And although it looked good, although it made me feel good, it was always short bursts of feeling good. Once again, this is my story. And I know we shouldn't be moved by how we feel, but guess what? Sometimes I am. We shouldn't be moved by what we see, but guess what? Sometimes I am. And I'm okay that God had to take me through these circumstances and situations and through this way in order for me to get to the point where I can say, you know what? This is not just words on paper to me anymore. This is a knowing that I know that I know. It's one thing to say, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. It's another thing to say, and this my soul knows very well. because now no circumstance or situation is going to sway me. Whether it's a situation that is created by others, or whether it's a battle in my own mind and my own thoughts, I won't be swayed. When I look into the mirror, I see beautiful. Not short bursts of feeling beautiful, but this, my soul knows very well. So, whatever it is that you need to let go of, trust me when I tell you, it's worth letting it go and just falling back into the hands and the arms of God. 2021, first of all, 2020, a lot of people say, oh, I'm glad it's over. I pray that we learn something in 2020, that we can move forward in 2021 and walk in the favor of God, walk in the plan of God, and walk out the purpose of God. I don't recommend anyone just shaving off their hair. But once again, those who know me know all about this journey. And I'm not a person who makes decisions arbitrarily. I really am not. And I told God this morning, I pray that I encourage to the utmost anyone who may be struggling with whatever it is that you need to let go of. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. And embrace whatever it is that God has for you. There's a saying, and I'm not sure if it's a saying, my grandmother used to say it, and I heard other people say it. What's for you cannot be unfor you, but you have to be ready to embrace what is for you. And I'm grateful that God took me through, or was with me through the journey that I had to take, or the steps that I had to take, or the road that I had to take in order to get to where I'm at right now. And it's not the end. I know that there's more, and there's more for you. So, forgetting those things which are behind, let's press towards the mark of the high calling, which is in Christ Jesus. Remembering that when pressing is not something that is done without energy being expelled, right? So be prepared to work. Be prepared to work. Amen. Those are my family and friends that are in the States, or in Cuba if you're watching from Cuba, or in the UK if you're watching from the UK. I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much for taking out your time to just be here with me. Life is they say life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a journey. And who you journey with is important. And I want to encourage you to make sure, especially in this new season, that the people that you have in your circle, the people that are journeying with you, are those who will think. They will speak truth to you. They will speak life into you. And they will assist you in identifying and even helping you to let go of things that may be hindering you and holding you down. And my prayer is that you hear his voice. Remember, he knows you, and follow him. God bless. Love you.